my name is Sabrina, and I'm the founder of Mindtricks, the Magic of Neuroscience. And if you're here, that means most likely you're opening a chapter in your state or country for Mindtricks Official. So, welcome to the team. I'm so excited to have you on the Mindtricks board. And I decided to make this video for people that would like to have an overview of what some tasks are to do as a chapter leader, and also as how to really start your show up if you want a nice little video review, although we will most likely be having a meeting together one-on-one on either a Zoom call or FaceTime, etc. From whatever that email has sent you. That most likely we've already been in contact, so you'll know that for you. But this is kind of just a nice review for if you have any questions after our meeting that you want to go back to have a like kind of video formatted thing, and also just like a review of the things that we've talked about in our meeting. So just for a couple of steps, just to review the steps that are really great for starting a chapter here at Mindtricks. It's kind of a, I like to say, a 7-step process, 6 to 7 parts. But the first step is most likely, we've already created this together, but that will be making your Instagram account. So this will be mind.tricks underscore whatever your region is, and we'll do that together. I'll make that account for you, and then I will send you the details. And then once you do that, we do that together. I'll make a post for you once you send me a picture of yourself and also a little bio about who you are. And I'll make an introductory post which will have a little bit about Mindtricks and where it's expanding, and then a little bit about me, some words that I have for you, welcoming you to the new Mindtricks family. And then it'll be, of course, your introduction to welcome you to the Mindtricks team officially. So once we do that step part, we kind of really got your Instagram down, and that's a great start to kind of launching your chapter. So the next thing that you're gonna want to do is either decide if you want to go for a more solo or individualistic approach, or if you want to go for a team approach. So if you want to go and start your chapter more so by yourself, then you can kind of skip this step. But if you want a team, then you can really think about who you want your team to be, start reaching out to friends, be like, hey, like I'm joining this new organization about Mind Tricks, the Magic of Neuroscience, where we teach neuroscience to kids through magic tricks, and really just kind of pitch the idea to them and then get them interested. You can post it on your own story, you can post it on your chapter story. We'll repost anything that you post to really get some traction up there. And then you can kind of really just get the word about making your team bigger. And then once you have your team settled, you can make your team post on Instagram to introduce all the team members to your community, etc., to see who's on there and such, and assign roles so then everyone kind of knows what they're doing. A couple roles that I have on my personal team is I have a social media manager. I would definitely have one of those, which is really helpful, which is managing your chapter Instagram DMs. And then it's also nice to also have I would say like a content creator. So there can be content creation people to really be on that team, outreach director to get event set up, and email community centers to be like, hey, like can we hold a show at our community center? That is definitely another great role to have filled. And then if you want to do the shows yourself, or if you want someone else to do your shows, then you can kind of think about like magic show presenter, then you can have that role as well. I personally really like presenting my shows here in Massachusetts, but if you'd like someone else to present your shows for your chapter instead of you personally doing the shows, that is totally okay too. Or if you want to do it as a group, you can do it as a group too. We have a couple chapters that kind of like that format, like our Hong Kong chapter, and I believe our Virginia chapter too. They just had their first show, super cool. So yeah, they also do, I seem more so like a group format of doing the magic together. And then I do my shows by myself, of course with all our photographers there, but I like doing the shows single-handedly, so you can also do that too. It's really totally up to you. So yeah. So that's kind of like the team aspect or individualized aspect. And if you just want to go for an individual approach, you can skip the team step. Another good thing for teams, I would say, is if you want to have a team approach, you can make a Google form for people to sign up for roles. That's been really helpful for me personally. And you can kind of just do like a small description of what roles you're looking for, and then make a little of an Instagram post maybe, and then send the word out, and then people will apply, and then you can review the applications and accept people into your team. And if you're going into individual approach, then you can kind of really go towards the next steps. So now we're on to, I believe, step four, and that is kind of making your program, making mind tricks really what it's all about, which is teaching neuroscience through magic tricks. So I most likely have already sent you this document, but if you need it, then feel free to email me or message me, whatever mode of contact is the best. But this document will include all my magic tricks and how I present them, and it will tell you how to do the magic trick and also what neuroscience concept it relates to. So the neuroscience concepts that I personally do is craniotomy, the brain, the brainstem, and then I also do the um I do craniotomy, the brainstem, myelination, of course, and then I do one more thing. I do, what is it? Oh, the hemispheres of the brain, and also the corpus callosum and the cerebral fissure. So those are the things that I do. I also talk about the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and lobe function, but both of those things are not in mind tricks format. They're more so a lecture style format. My dorsolateral prefrontal cortex part is kind of an opener where I talk about how your brain is activated in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex when you're exposed to magic. And I have like a little funny joke is that if you've ever had like a magician tell you prepare to be surprised, they're actually like lying to you because neurologically you're actually being mind blown or you're being amazed. So the difference between that is that when you're surprised is that you're going to have like a lower activation because if you were to be just simply surprised by something that doesn't violate your senses of reality, like maybe you got like a really good score on a test that you didn't study for, you're like maybe you're surprised, but that's not like mind blowing because I'm sure you're very smart and talented. So, you really got that in the bag. So, but if you were to watch someone like magically reveal a rabbit out of a hat, like that's like, whoa, like how did they do that? And so, since your mind reality is being broken, then there is a higher activation in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. So that's kind of like my opener, but I don't explain that through a magic trick. I kind of just explain that through like a poster, kind of just like make it a little fun introduction. And then I talk about the brain lobes just like the way like I try to make it fun and upbeat, but it's just a poster as well, just to give the audience like kind of like a little bit of background about neuroscience before we get into all of these like super advanced concepts like neurosurgery. So yeah, really the show is yours to make it. Though I'll give you all of my tricks and tell you exactly how I do them. I'll tell you exactly how I present them, all of my jokes, all of my one-liners. So you can always spin off of what I do. But of course, it's super fun when you get to make it your own. Virginia and Hong Kong, they both do like so many of their own tricks that they made, which is super cool. I think they showed me like they showed me one does like one with a ball and then the other person does one where like they tear torn paper into like one full sheet of paper. It's really cool. So the tricks that I do are all card tricks. You can choose to go that route too, or you can choose to make like any type of magic trick and create that into like a metaphor or analogy or physical representation of a neuroscience trick. So that document will kind of just give you like a little cheat sheet if you're stuck and give you ideas on what you can do. You can either like copy that fully. We've had chapters that have done that in the past too. I think our California San Ramon chapter, they really like doing the same tricks that we do, if kind of like a mirror image. And they also like replicating our posters or my posters. So yeah, you can definitely do that as well. Really, it's again super up to you. You can either replicate my program or in your own kind of way, or you can make it like whatever you like it to be with your own magic tricks as well, and really just take the idea and concept and run with it. That is really up to you to choose what you'd like to do. So yeah, but I will give you that sheet so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea and also about how to make jokes. But this step is really about making your program, making your posters. I'll also send you like all the posters as well that I have so then you can kind of have ideas of what to do and like also how to present your program with like your posters and then your magic tricks of course. And then yeah, so that's also good. And then I will also what else? Oh yeah. So this is also the step to kind of like think about what you're gonna say. So our shows are typically like I would say an hour long. So that is a lot of memorization. So what I would recommend is like create an outline of like points that you want to hit and like just like really this is like if this makes you feel better, it will become so much easier when you do this a lot. So for me, like before an hour was really hard to get up to where like I would really be struggling to hit the 30-minute mark and I'd be like, oh man, like I gotta keep going, but I don't know what to do. So I'll like fill it with a bunch of like activities I'd make up on the spot of like, let's like let's replicate the like temporal lobe and let's do like facial recognition activities. But of course like that wasn't like magic trick oriented. That was more so like, oh no, I'm only 30 minutes in and I need to like fit something in. And if you're really struggling for time, you can always do that. That is something that you can always rely on. Is just think of something quick on the spot and be like, all right, we can do this new activity. And the kids love it. Like they're always like, oh my god, this is so fun. We're gonna like facially recognize people. So yeah, you can always do that too if you're struggling for time and you're like, oh man, like I already finished my program, like we gotta do some more things. Then you can definitely do that as well. But what I like to like make sure that you're like feeling okay about it is that if you're struggling to hit time, don't worry, it will get easier. And the reason why it will get easier is because most likely the more that you do it, you're gonna more so like ad lib instead of sticking to your like exact script. And that was what happened with me. Is like I really stuck to my script. I was like, oh man, like I'm gonna do what I prepared. And then now that I'm like super comfortable with my program, I've really like to I know what to do. So I'm able to kind of like reuse my old jokes but also make new ones like, depending on like who I'm with and like adapt to the audience. And then also, you know, like make jokes that are about like the environment. Like if I see like a specific like layout of the room, like maybe I'll be like, oh, like we're gonna smell the books in here or something like that and like use our like brain to like process that with our parietal lobe with our five senses. So you can always do that as well. And that is another like great way to kind of like really prolong your time is that like you'll like just like ad lib off of like your environment. And like if a kid like cracks a joke, then you can like run off of that too. So yeah, that's one thing that I really noticed is that the kids are super engaged, interactive, like they're really into the show. So like they most likely like they'll be into it too. So they'll be like adding their own elements to the show as well, from being uniquely them. So yeah, that was my other advice too, is that I would create like an outline. Yeah, I think I said that, but yeah. So I create an outline, and then you can like kind of like ad lib off of that. But if you want to create more prepared script, I'll also have my script in that document too. Like, or not, it's not really a script; it's more of my outline. But like it does have like script elements of like what I really do, like mostly say. So yeah, you can kind of like create that. And then I would say aim to kind of have like I would say aim to have at least 45 minutes prepared. So this doesn't have to be a 45-minute long script. That's a lot of writing for you. But I would say make sure that you can really like use your outline to really create a 45-minute experience. Or mostly you do want to go for longer, like you really do want to hit that hour. But of course that is progress and that is totally okay like if you're not there at the beginning. And I totally understand. I was there as well and I have definitely like know that it is really difficult to get to the hour point. But don't worry, you will get there, and I believe in you. And if you ever need help, I'm always just a text message away or email away or whatever contact that you want to use, just one of those away. And you can always ask me for help. We can always do one-on-one meetings again. So yeah, don't be shy. And so yeah, that's another thing that you can do with the program. So that's kind of like really creating your show program. This is gonna be probably like the longest step is like creating your posters, creating your magic tricks, creating your like what you're gonna say. And then once you have this, it's fly coasting from there. But actually, I would start step number 4 before you're fully finished with developing your show because this is also gonna take really long. Okay, so step number 4 is to reach out to community organizations like schools, libraries. Libraries for me have worked the best, and just like recreation centers or like any place that's like community centered, and you reach out to them to ask if you can perform your show there. So usually this will just be like a cold email. I like to cold email. You can go there in person as well. I think I've done that before as well too. And I've like asked to speak to a librarian. I'm like, hi, my name is Sabrina, and like I was wondering if there's any librarian available today to chat about a program idea I've had. And they're really nice. Librarians are so sweet, and they're usually very like open to hearing what you have to say. So that's one thing that you can really reach out to is libraries, community centers here in Massachusetts, and I'm pretty sure like across America. So if you're in the States, you might have this as well. We have the YMCA. I think they have the YMCA in Hong Kong too. So there is also like YMCA's like around the world as well. But if you have a YMCA near you, usually they're pretty welcoming too. If you don't have a YMCA in your area or your country, then you can just think of any community center, recreation center, like activity center where like a lot of like teens are coming or like a lot of people like gather, and you can ask if you can host a show there as well. I've done mine at museums. I think we've had people do it at museums before too that were not me. And yeah, so I've done mine at the Ecotarium, which is like a science museum. That was pretty cool. We got to open their brain exhibit. So we got to be their show opener, which is really fun. So you can ask museums as well if you can be a part of their like show events. Usually sometimes like they'll have events that are planned, so you can ask if you can be part of that roster. And yeah, just think of like any community center that you can think of, like schools as well count. And you can really just like ask like daycares, like anything that's like really centered towards that type of thing, and ask if you can perform your show. And that can either be through a cold email. I have a template, so if you would like that template, just email me again or message me, whatever you'd like, or you can create your own template. The template that I have is really centered towards the accomplishments and things and like shows that we have done, but feel free to use those as well, since we're a tight organization, so like our achievements are each other's achievements. So whatever we have done, you can also use that in your cold email. You'll probably find that having a track record of things that Mindtricks has done is going to help you get responses faster. So as like a little bit of a story, when I first began cold emailing, it was just me, no chapters, and it just one person. I didn't have a team either. I think we only had like 23 followers on Instagram. When I first started emailing places, I think I emailed 50 libraries, and I only got 5 responses, and only one show was booked from that. So but now that we're like pretty big and we're established and we have a lot of shows and a lot of pictures to show for what we do, now it's a lot easier to get response of like getting a show or booking a date to have like an event or a program, and people are a lot more receptive, and people even ask us. So I would say that I would definitely use like our name and also like photos that like we have to really show people about what this thing is about, so then people can understand, especially because usually people don't think of like a magic show teaching neuroscience at the first glimpse. So since it's more of like a new concept, then that's going to be like really helpful for them to like see that like come into fruition and be like, oh, okay, I like understand and like I can get behind this. So you can use that too. And then of course, once you start running your own chapter and like you really have it up and running, then you can really start like using your own show photos and things like that to really like show that like what you have done, which is really cool. So yeah, that was my other thing that you should start doing, but you should start doing that before you're fully finished with your program, because most likely your program is going to take you a very long time to develop to make it really like up and running. So but also you'll most likely have to schedule show dates a lot in advance. So to give you like some picture of this, I had summer dates for shows, like shows for August that were planned in April. And usually, and I think I also have like one now that's technically planned for October, but I have to check in on if that's like still happening. So, yeah, but really it's like months in advance that you're planning this. And some people are really lucky, like they really just like they can get it in like a week of like asking. But I would say definitely have, if you want shows for certain months, then you want to plan so you have a lot of time until that date. So then you can make sure that the libraries know, make sure that you're getting responses back, etc. So if you really want shows for say like next month, then I would start contacting now, so then you can have those dates set up while you work on your program, and then you'll have a deadline set. So you're like, I have to have a show on this date. This is the date I have to finish my program, and that will kind of like keep you motivated as well. That's what I did even too when I began. I didn't have my show fully finished, but I had all my ideas. I had my like general idea of what I was gonna do, all my magic tricks, etc. So I knew that I would be able to get this up and running for whatever date I needed, and then I had the date settled, and then I finished my program. So that works really well because it first of all checks and balances. You're having like a deadline to really set and be like, okay, I'm finishing it by this time, and so you get that up and running. But also so you have an event planned, and then you can like not have to worry about like having events planned or things like that. Especially like if you're trying to get it done, it might be a little bit late to kind of get them done for summer, just because summer's basically over. Oh, too bad. But it's so sad that summer is ending. Hopefully you guys had a good summer break and you went on vacation, or you guys got to like spend time with your family, etc. Yeah. But basically, I would say just like make sure you're really like on top of emailing, and don't be discouraged if a lot of people are saying no. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, no, sorry, like we don't have space for this, or like they're not interested. And don't worry, it's okay. Like there's always going to be someone that is going to say yes, and you only need one person to have an event. So I would say don't be discouraged. Like I said before, like I sent out like 50 emails. I got rejected from 45 of them, and then technically I got rejected from 49 of them. So don't worry, like rejection is normal and it's okay. And if you ever want to talk about it, I'm always open to. And I can always try to help you as well. I know most likely, like, or we're not going to be in the same place, of course, since we had a chapter in Massachusetts before, and Massachusetts is a pretty small state, so it's kind of hard to like, because we have a lot of overlapping show dates, so we just or overlapping show spots, so we just combined. So most likely you're probably not in Massachusetts, since if you were, then we probably just like combine or welcome you to the team of like here. So since you will be like kind of far away, I'm assuming, or actually I would know, then of course like it might be a little bit difficult for me to directly help you, but I will always be here to give you suggestions and such. Yeah, and maybe someday I'll be where you are, but I'm not super sure. I need to start traveling more, but yeah. So there's that. What else? Let's talk about the fifth step. Okay, so let's say that now you have your show dates planned. Like I said, start the fourth step before you're fully done with your last step. So then you want to make sure that you're like emailing throughout because you will have time in between of when your show date is and when people say yes. Like they'll say yes and then you'll have a show date planned a month after that and then you can continue to work on your show throughout that month and then have it ready for that day. So then you have like your show day and such. So yeah. But for the fifth step, basically prepare your show, do it, and take lots of pictures. You want to have lots of pictures to be able to post on your Instagram to show and like create your portfolio. This is going to be helpful for so many things. It's going to be helpful for you cold emailing in the future. It's going to be helpful for people knowing about what you are. It's going to be helpful for building up your reputation and also helping you with show spots through people seeing your Instagram profile or seeing your social media and seeing it organically instead of you having to kind of like initiate a contact. They'll which is always great practice too, but it will be nice to also have people be like, hey, like I saw your show, it's super cool, like I want to have it at our event, like can you come? And that's super cool. We've had a lot of like elementary schools ask us and be like, hey, like can you come to our event for like everyday science? And it's really cool to be, first of all, it's really cool to be like, oh my gosh, like someone like thinks my show is cool, but like also it's really nice to also just get like a show spot handed to you instead of having to go out there and be like, oh my gosh, like please, like would you like to have a show spot, like etc. So this would be really helpful for you. Make sure you have a photographer. This can be anyone. I really like having like my team members be photographers because it gets them volunteer hours, it gets them experience since they all really like photography. That's kind of like their thing. They all do like my photographers on my team, they all like do like senior photos and stuff. So they like really like getting to broaden their portfolio, so it's great for them. And also it's just a lot of fun going with your friends since they're also my friends. So yeah, I would say like you don't have to have a photographer that's like has an actual camera. I didn't for like the first 6 months of my show. I just had my mom take pictures like in the back and then or like my sister and like on a camera or not a camera like iPhone camera. So you can really have anyone, just make sure that someone is there to take a picture because you want like proof, like, not like proof, but you want like a picture of what you've done so then you can reference it in the future because that's just going to be helpful for like a lot of things, especially like if you want to apply to awards or if you want to apply to like anything with like mind tricks or if you want like just like really anything, like it's more exposure, it's just gonna help you a lot in general. Like you want that track record of what you've done. And also just so you can remember, it's like nice to have memories. And like I personally think the shows are so rewarding, it's so fun. I always have like memories from every show that I remember, or like specific kids that I'm like, oh, they were like so cool, they're so cute or like curious or like inquisitive. And it's always nice to look back at your Mindtrix portfolio. Like I like scroll through my Instagram and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. Like the Mindtrix official page, and I'm like, oh, I remember that show. And it's like, it's really nice to be able to see all that back and be like, wow, like I'm really happy that, like I've done this. But yeah, so sometimes like that might be nice for you as well. Is that like, of course, like most likely you're gonna make a touch of, oh my gosh, I was trying to say a ton and then much at the same time, and then it came to touch. But a ton of memories. You're gonna make a ton of memories most likely with this organization. So it's always great to have photos for your own enjoyment too. So yeah, just make sure you have a photographer, and also it's great for me to be able to see your progress and to see like what your shows are looking like. So like if you ever need help, like I can help you a bit better from being able to see it like really what it's like, and also like see how your events are running and such. And yeah, so that's really great. I would definitely make sure you take pictures. So every event you have, make sure you take pictures. If you're working on your posters, take pictures. When I was first like doing my tricks and building up my like portfolio, I was trying to like take pictures of like me making the posters or like me like well, I'm not really me spreading the word, that was like just an email, so it's like not really a picture, but just like you working. It also just like makes like shows me that you're also still dedicated to mind tricks. We have international chapter communications directors on my team for the official chapter, and that's just helpful for like making sure that like you're like active in the chapter and you're still interested, and then we'll actively check up on you, but most likely like we'll still actively check up on you like regardless, but just like so we have like that extra step, like just to make sure like we can make like targeted like commentary and be like, hey, like we saw your posters, like do you need help on this, or like blah blah blah, like whatever step you're on. So and then we can like help you a little bit better from knowing where you are at. So yeah, that's like the next thing is make sure you take pictures and make sure you like keep your Instagram active, etc. So then you can really just like see updates. And you can also like have like series and such and like different events that you hold online. So that's my fifth step. So basically no, that's my sixth step. So my sixth step is basically so now that you have the shows down, you basically have your team or you're doing it yourself, and you have your shows, you have your show dates, you've taken photos, you upload to your Instagram. Oh my gosh, you're low key running your own mentoring chapter. Congratulations. But the next thing that you can do if you want to expand, these are always really fun. I personally have not initiated many of these in the past just because for us we're so busy with shows that usually I like to keep events in person. I think events in person are a lot more fun, and I also think that they're a lot more impactful. So that's where I put my focus on is doing things in person. But one thing that we really like to do too is having webinars. So we've been asked to collaborate with a lot of youth organizations. Like they'll just ask us, they'll be like, hey, like we saw like your organization and we're interested in having a webinar with you. And usually we'll do collaborations and they've been really nice. It's been really fun. I've met a lot of like friends on there. We did I think I did a collaboration with Biomedizone Jamaica, and we did one about like neuroscience, mental health. It was really fun, and I met a lot of people, and also I'm like friends now with them, so it's just really fun to meet friends as well. And I think we also did another one with, I think it was, I don't think it was Project Connect Forum. It was another forum, and it was like it might have been Project Connect Forum. Yeah, she's so nice. She's super cool. But yeah, we did another webinar with someone as well that was about like how to start your youth organization. I forgot exactly which organization that was, but that was like kind of a long time ago. But yeah, that's just another example. And then we did a webinar with Everything Starts Small that was about research, and then we also did another one that was about we did another one about neuroscience as well, which I did not personally do. I think my one of my team members, Anushri, did that one. She did it was about I think it was about disabilities with Able Youth Alliance. So that was really cool and like neuroscience, etc. So that's another idea. That was a little bit of a couple things that we've done. It was yeah. So basically you can hold webinars online with other youth organizations. So like I said, I personally like to focus on in-person events. But you can also do like online ones as well. Online ones are usually easier to schedule because like you're doing these with other teens. So the reason why in-person events are a little bit more difficult to schedule is because like it's out in the community and it's also with like you need like adults or you need like permits or like you need like permissions from people to like host these spaces. But usually what I found is that like other youth organizations are super eager to also hold an event. So they're also like they're pretty like up and coming about like they're like yeah, like we want to hold an event with you, and they're super like usually the answer is yes. So if you're struggling to find an in-person event, a great way to start like hosting something is having a webinar, because it's like online. You don't need like permission to host anything in a space. You just need like a Zoom link, etc. And you can ask like any like youth organization you find that's like based on neuroscience or based on medicine or like anything that you want to do, and be like, hey, like let's do, are you interested in hosting a webinar together? And you can host like a webinar, and it can be about anything. It can be about neuroscience, it can be about medicine. But I would just say if you're initiating a webinar, I would keep it more so on neuroscience. Usually, if people ask you to do a webinar, they'll keep it about neuroscience too, since they know who we are and they knew that we do neuroscience. But yeah, so just like keep a neuroscience focus if you would like, but also you can totally be creative with that too. Your chapter is really yours to make it. If you want to make it about like medicine or you want to make it about psychology, that is up to you. And I'll always be supportive of that. And we can always talk too about like your ideas and such. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do is those webinars. And yeah. Okay, this leads me to step 7 is in-person events that are not shows. So yeah, that's past the webinar part. And this is the in-person events that are not shows. So you might be wondering, what could those be? So you can hold a lot of booths. So for the main thing, the only requirement of having a Mind Trick chapter is I really do want you to hold those Mind Trick shows, those magic trick shows that teach neuroscience, just because like we've done so much, or I've done so much research on our shows, and it shows that our show is neurologically able to help like boost learning efficiency and such through myelination and making education rewarding. Of course, like I'm sure there's other ways to do that as well, of course, through like exciting learning, etc. But since my tricks is really all about magic, then I would ask that you'd stick to that theme as well for at least one of your things. But there's so many things that you can do with that as well. But just please make sure you're prioritizing those magic shows. But again, there's so many other things that you can do as well, and I'll always be up and ready to support that with you. So I would say a couple things that you can do, getting onto the event ideas, is we've held booths in the past. So a couple things that we've done MIT Cambridge Science Fest, and that is we've held shows for them too, which was really cool at their festival. But we've also went to their carnival, which was like a booth based type of thing, and we made neuroscience notebooks, which was we like made neuroscience notebooks that were based on like decorating them based on different lobes of the brain, so temporal, parietal, occipital, and frontal. And like they picked a card, of course, magic trick style, and whatever card they got, they would model their notebook on that like lobe, whatever it like really is a part of. Like I think parietal's like five senses, and then they would be like, oh, like whatever like aesthetic you have like with your like senses and you can like make your notebook. I think it was like a little bit more specific than that, but that was one thing that we did. We're doing MIT Humor Science Fest again this year, and we're making neuroscience charm bracelets. So it'd be like make a bracelet that matches your unique personality or your brain space. And then we've also done one at a college that was I think for like the science fair, but not the science fair. It was like another event since like the past the science fair season, and it was for like getting kids like interested into sharing their posters and such. And we did an event for them that was also the neuroscience notebooks and also advertising what my tricks was. Also, as one more thing, a lot of chapter leaders have been asking for a full length recording of a show that I've done. I have one that is pretty long of a recording. It's around like 18 minutes of our MIT Cambridge Science Festival presentation. Um, but that is currently the longest recording that I have, but it is 18 minutes, so that is like a pretty long demonstration. Additionally, if you ever want demonstrations of how I do the tricks, or if you can't find, I should have like a YouTube videos linked in there, I'm pretty sure, or explain how to do it, but if you want me to like visually show you the trick, I'm always available too. But yeah, so that is like a video that you can watch. If you need that link, I'll post that on the YouTube channel actually, so you can see like that full recording of the 18-minute one. If you go to like just our channel and you just go to, it's not much, it's more of like a my tricks welcome channel, but yeah, so if you just like go, there should also be like shorts too that will like show you a little bit more about like what my tricks is and like how to do tricks and like what I like say and stuff. So if you want like inspiration for that, but yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this in with the last step number 7, is in addition to in-person events that are not shows, you can also hold like Instagram posts that are not of shows too. So I know like our Morocco chapter is doing a really great job. She's doing super amazing things. And also you might be watching this video. Hi, if you're watching this video, because I think I actually made this video for you, our Morocco chapter. Since yeah. So yeah. Also, if you're not from Morocco and you're watching this and you're a new chapter leader, then hello, welcome. And yes, now you know the origins of this video. But yeah, so yeah. Anyways, she's doing super cool things. You're doing super cool things if it's you that's watching this. But yeah, she has a series that's going on that is talking about STEM, like important STEM people and a lot of different things in science, and you can do that as well. And you can talk about like different things like that is important to you. I think also our Minnesota chapter does that too. Is she has a series on TikTok that she talks about like different like neuroscience concepts that are like taught through different like analogies, which is really cool. That's our little my tricks thing, is like teaching through analogies. So I think she has like things that's like neuro truck, where she like taught a little bit about neuroscience using that as well, like trucks and such. So you can definitely do those too, like little like social media things. I personally do recruiting TikToks or like reels, usually more so reels. I don't really do TikTok too much, but for mind tricks. But yeah, so you can definitely do like recruiting things if you're having a team, you're trying to get team members that are like reels. I can send you a ton of ideas. We have so many on the official page. You can also just scroll. And then you can also do different series like our Morocco chapter or our Minnesota chapter that are about neuroscience facts, etc. I'm trying to get more into having my team, my content creation team, doing that as well. We had a member do one about like hot pot and how that's related to all your senses and like how you use your lobes, your brain lobes to do that. So you can always use that as well. But yeah, that's another thing that you can do too if you're like kind of like in the between of doing like asking for show spots and also like creating your show. That's like something that you can do kind of on the side. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do. So yeah. And also, um, feel free to like do your show. This is another thing. Wait, this is step number 7. You're done. Congratulations. You have your show. Just like, continue to repeat all those things that we talked about, and yeah, you'll be in great hands. But this is another little tip as well. So if you have like multiple languages in your region, then feel free to launch your show in multiple languages. That is super cool. And that's super awesome too. Is that you're making it more accessible to more people. So I think for our Hong Kong chapter, I'm pretty sure they did it in Cantonese and Mandarin. So that was really amazing. That was super cool. So if you want to do that too, if there's multiple languages that you want to launch your show in, you can feel free to do that as well. Of course, it's like yeah, you could. That's like unspoken. Of course, you can do that. But just in case, like you wanted ideas for that, or you were thinking of like ways to be able to do that. So I think for our Hong Kong chapter, I'm pretty sure that they had like multiple show presenters to be able to present it in multiple languages. So that's pretty cool. I personally don't have experience with that. I only present my show in English. But it would be super cool if you would like to do that. So that's another idea of the way that you can do that is that you can have multiple people if you're looking for multiple languages and maybe like you're more comfortable with one language and they're pretty comfortable with the other language that you're hoping to bring into the area, so you can have like multiple presenters. And yeah, so that's like another idea for you if that is applicable to your region. Or if you'd like to do that. So yeah, that's another thing that you can do. I pretty sure I talked about street performing. If I didn't talk about street performing, you can also street perform. If your region allows you to. Like for my state, you're allowed to street perform. We have a pretty big street performing culture, which is pretty fun. So you can street perform in the streets, and if you have a permit, I'm pretty sure I talked about this though. But yeah, and if you don't, then just keep on prioritizing those show spots. So yeah, that is my handy dandy guide to starting a Mind Tricks chapter. Again, welcome to the Mind Tricks family. We're so excited to have you, and thank you so much for taking on this endeavor and finding inspiration into taking our idea into fruition in your area. And again, I'm always available for you, and you should have my email or number if you are watching this video. So yeah, feel free to always contact me. And yeah, bye.